Hi, I'm Pete Trego from Somerset County Cricket Club and I use the Cronus. My first memory of a Gray-Nicolls bat was one that I owned when I think I was about 12 years old, and the first bat I owned was a Dynadrive. I would say the word iconic springs to mind. So many great players, especially in the era that I grew up, were using Gray-Nicolls at the time. Your Laras, Athertons, Hussains, all the sort of top England players, Robin Smith, all the players that I really watched and wanted to emulate, they all used Gray-Nicolls. So iconic, and obviously when I first signed for Gray-Nicolls I was immensely proud, and I hope in the years that I've been a Gray-Nicolls player I've done the brand proud. When I hear the word Gray-Nicolls I think of a couple of Somerset legends that I again grew up with, either watching or certainly guys that had a massive influence on me. Graham Rose, who was the all-rounder at the time when I first joined the staff at Somerset. Big, powerful all-rounder, obviously used Gray-Nicolls kit. And then I suppose looking back on like the glory days for Somerset in the Viv, Joel, Botham era, the captain of the side at the time, Brian Rose, used to use the Gray-Nicolls scoop, and I think one of the best photographs of in the club's history was Brian Rose hitting this square cut, and you can just, I think it must be from kind of deep square leg, so you can sort of see the side of Rosie, but you can see the blade with the very famous sort of scoop. It's very clear to see. So yeah, and Rosie's little sweep over as well, which always makes me chuckle. So yeah, Brian Rose square cutting would probably be the thing that springs to mind. My favourite Gray-Nicolls bat, the one I really liked, apart from obviously the Lucky 7, which I helped design, would probably be the Gray-Nicolls The Ultimate, from probably the mid to late 90s. Well, those two questions link nicely into each other. I can remember watching England play. They were touring at the time the West Indies, and I can remember Robin Smith batting, and he scored a magnificent 100 in the West Indies in incredibly tough conditions. I think he might have been batting with Alan Lamb at the time, possibly, and I can remember Ian Bishop was bowling particularly quick that day, and I can remember sort of sitting in my chair, and I could even feel my adrenaline rising, watching him face absolute barrage balls flying over his head from back of a length, and just got absolutely bombarded, and he was playing his famous square cuts. And I can remember there was a moment where the ball was sort of short of a length, outside off stump, he's shaped to cut the ball, and it nipped back and bounced at him, and it hit him underneath the jawbone. And Robin Smith, the judge as he was called, just sort of stepped away to square leg, and the cameras panned on him, expecting obviously the guy to be absolutely broken, but he just had, he didn't even flinch. The guy was that tough, and then he battled through and kept on, slashing the ball through point, and that was using the ultimate bat. And that was probably one of the most iconic moments, and that actually set the tone of what I've been or tried to be like as a player. Really get in the battle and fight for your team, and that's certainly what he did on that particular occasion. Iconic, legacy, and pride.